Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, Taking Care of Business. The man who rules the world breaks in a brand new partner to help him take care of business in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get John Haynes, Taking Care of Business at paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere.
Better get the coleslaw, y'all, because we're having us a barbecue.
I was on Facebook on Monday when somebody posted up a statement that said that Uncle Luke says that Hispanic women treat black men better than black women. Now, Uncle Luke is Luther Campbell, who was one of the rappers of the controversial rap group Two Live Crew in the 1990s that went out of its way to produce misogynistic songs like Me So Horny and featured black women in sexually suggestive poses and dances in their rap videos. And what Uncle Luke, or Luther Campbell, wants to do here is create controversy like he did back in the 1990s, going out here and looking to further degrade black women, just like he did when he was producing the songs as he did for his album Nasty As They Wanna Be. But what he's doing that's nasty this time is going out here and degrading black women by making the statement that black women basically are not viable for relationships and that Hispanic women would be a better choice. Now, what Uncle Luke is looking to do is continue to promote the anti-black women propaganda that Hispanic women treat black men better than black women, a narrative that has been pushed by many black males who are part of groups like the Passport Bros, who basically make this their core argument for looking to go out here and travel overseas to countries like Brazil and Colombia and look to pursue relationships with Hispanic women because they believe the argument that a Hispanic woman is going to allegedly treat them better than a black woman. This is a narrative that has been pushed by many black males out here who really don't understand how dating or relationships work, and they basically go out here and make an argument based on a preference, based on what they think is an experience, but they're not really approaching the entire whole scenario as related to relationships from an objective perspective, but from a place of complete bias. Now, this whole argument that Uncle Luke wants to make, again, has been one that has been pushed in the black community around black men, and a lot of black males have bought into these lies, believing that Hispanic women are going to treat them better than a black woman, and really, this whole narrative is a complete lie. I know this for a fact because I grew up in the South Bronx, around a lot of Hispanic women. I grew up around a lot of Puerto Rican, Dominican, and Cuban, and El Salvadoran women, and I know for a fact that many of these Hispanic women, especially those in the New York area, can be just as loud, argumentative, and ratchet just as much as a black girl. So I know that that argument that Uncle Luke is making is a lie, and it's a lie designed to present some white supremacist anti-black woman propaganda that's designed to divide black men and women as related to the polarized lines of the gender war. That's the main reason that Uncle Luke is making this statement, because he basically wants to continue driving that wedge between black men and black women that basically led to him having his successful career as a rap musician, because when he was out here in the 1990s making his records like Nasty As They Wanna Be, he basically was happy to go out here and degrade the image of the black woman. He was happy to have black women basically shaking their things in his music videos. He was happy to go out here and present black women as an image of a black Jezebel, looking like they're sexually promiscuous, but he wants to go out here and not elevate the black woman, but he wants to elevate the Hispanic woman, and that just shows how he has been poisoned by the whole system of white supremacy as related to his whole frame of mind and his whole frame of thinking. Because his idea is believing, oh, this Hispanic woman will be better than a black woman, when that's not the case at all. No, what happens to many of these black males is that many of these black males basically come from a place that I call the trauma from mama, which is their black mothers, usually single mothers, who are very domineering and very hostile towards them in the home. Then they go outside and experience many of the same type of females at their junior high schools and high school levels, and this creates a series of traumas that basically affect these black males, making them think that black women are basically, again, horrible all around, when in actuality, when it comes to them, it's basically their dysfunctional upbringing and the fact that they really don't understand how relationships work. This is why they go out here with this whole frame of thinking Hispanic women are going to treat them better than black women, when in actuality, these men in and of themselves just don't understand female nature. And because they don't understand female nature, and even worse, do not understand their role as a man, because that's the other aspect that really messes up a lot of these young black men, is that they don't understand their role as a man, as God's head and God's steward. And the thing is that because they don't understand their head role as leader and head, what happens is these men come from a position of weakness, and as they come from that position of weakness, they basically, again, don't understand how to be in a relationship with any woman whatsoever. And that's where they get this idea, oh, these black women are so bad, when in actuality, they wind up gravitating towards the most dysfunctional types of women, regardless of race. And that's because many of these men do not know how to lead in a relationship, and because they do not know how to lead in a relationship, they wind up following behind women based on superficial things like looks, never looking at this woman's values or character whatsoever, never taking a minute to assess this woman's values or character to see if this woman is compatible with themselves. No, they go on basically either the looks of the woman or the way they think they're being treated, because in a lot of cases what happens is that many of these women from the races who are non-black, they basically see the dysfunction of black females who are usually raised in single mother households. And as these women are raised in single mother households by mothers who are competing with them in the social marketplace, the mothers treat the daughters cruelly, and because there's no father there to nurture them, they go looking for love from a man who they think has high social status, usually these pookie type guys. And that also exacerbates the situation with many of the black boys who are usually squares or guys like Uncle Luke. And that's what really reinforces many of the dysfunctional and sometimes misogynistic ideas these guys have regarding black women. And what happens is that because these girls, again, are dealing with a mother who is abusive to them because she directly sees them as competition, basically these girls don't really, they are coming into an environment where, again, they are competing with their mothers, and as they compete with their mothers and are dealing with her hostility, they basically take that hostility out on the square brothers. And as they take that hostility out on the square brothers, as because they think that they are basically getting out here with Pookie, what happens is that these guys basically wind up having a lot of these Hispanic and non-black women who are at the bottom of their social marketplaces, going out here looking like viable options. And what these women do as part of their female nature is go out here and use that to their advantage. And as they use that to their advantage, what they do is go out here and play the role of the female chameleon and put on a face that makes it look like they're being nicer than the black woman, because what they want to do is go out here and get the black men that are at the top of the social pecking order. What they want to do is get those black men to pay attention to them, but usually in their own communities. Many of these Hispanic and non-black women who spellbound guys like Uncle Luke want to say are better than black women are basically the leftover women of these Hispanic and non-black communities, because the problem with many of these black males is that they never ask the critical question, why isn't that their men are not choosing these women? That's the critical question many of these black males never ask, and they never ask that because many of these black males are so spellbound and want to fit into a black box that's acceptable to white people, and are just so caught up in the attention of anybody who is not black paying attention to them, that they basically see this as a better choice for them, because they think that someone from the outside society is choosing them, so they think that this elevates their social status in society. But it doesn't elevate their social status in society, but the whole thing is many of these black men get their heads gassed up, and as they get their heads gassed up, what happens to these black men is that they start thinking, oh, this Hispanic woman or this Asian woman or even this white woman is out here looking to pay attention to me. And what these women do is, again, like I said about female chameleons, they will put on a nice face in front of you for the start of the relationship, because they know that they don't have options with those white guys, Hispanic guys, or Asian guys in their community. So they go over to the black community and they put their best face forward, and they know that the black woman basically is competition they can easily beat. They can easily beat that black female competition, because when it comes to that black woman is her own worst enemy. She's her own worst enemy because she doesn't know how to put on a good face, because her father has never nurtured her. Her father hasn't taught her how to have a relationship with a man, or how to submit or to serve a man. And since that father hasn't taught her these things, what happens to that black girl who grows up into a black woman is she goes out and has dysfunctional relationships with Pookie type black males or other types of dysfunctional black males. And the whole thing is that these black males that she gets involved with basically reinforce the trauma on guys out here, and again makes it where many of these guys have this idea that there's some sort of better woman from other races, when in actuality all of the women are the same as related to their female nature. All of the women are the same as related to their female nature, but these guys basically again have their whole perceptions colored by bias from traumas that they've experienced from their single mothers in the beginning of their life, or their mothers basically again not really teaching them about things, or their father not sitting there and teaching them how relationships actually work. Because in order for a relationship to work, a man has to take the lead as related to that relationship. He has to set the tone for that relationship. He has to set the direction for that relationship. And I'll get into that possibly in a future live stream if I decided to have one. But the whole thing is that these men don't know how to lead in a relationship, and because they don't know how to lead, they go out here and follow dysfunction and follow dysfunctional ideas from dysfunctional individuals like Uncle Luke, who basically is a tether. And this tether goes out here and tells FBA men about about Hispanic women treating black men better than black women, when that in and of itself is a lie, and a lie that basically has caught many black men in the web of a black widow from another community. Because again, like I said, I lived in the Bronx around many Hispanic women. I've lived around Puerto Rican girls. I've lived around Dominican girls. I've lived around Cuban girls, Venezuelan girls, again, El Salvadoran girls, and all of them can be just as loud, just as ratchet, just as nasty, and just as disrespectful as black women. And you can talk to some of the Latino brothers out here, and they will tell you the same. They will tell you the same, that many of these Hispanic women can be just as nasty to them, and that's why they basically, again, step back, and again, as related to those women, and that's why they leave those women to be leftovers in their community, because they deal with the same bad attitudes. But when it comes down to the black woman, again, her attitude and her big mouth are reinforced by the white media, and as her big mouth and bad attitude are reinforced by the black media through its sapphire and mammy caricatures, sadly, many black girls believe this is the normal way for them to behave, and sadly, they become again their own worst enemy, as related to, again, undermining themselves in the social marketplace, and basically give their competition an advantage over them. One of the reasons why many black women, again, wind up their own worst enemy, again, is because they get a miseducation. I go in depth on this in my book, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single. In Why 70% of Black Women Are Single, I basically debunk this whole lie about Hispanic women and non-black women, again, being this so-called better choice, because again, these women, again, see how the narratives are presented regarding black women in the media, and they use that to their advantage to go out here and sell themselves to black men who basically don't see how they're at the bottom of the dating market and basically are everybody's last choice. I mean, after this Hispanic woman or any other non-black woman messes up in her community, she knows she can fall back on a sucker like an Uncle Luke, again, put on a nice face towards him, and he'll go out here because he's a gullible simp and go out here and look to get with her based on his spellbound mindset as related to her lighter skin tone and her wavy and curlier hair. He will go out here and think she's a better choice, but in actuality, you're making the same choice because you're gravitating towards the same type of woman that you would as related to black women. And that's the core problem with many of these black men. They don't see how they are the common denominator as related to them having these bad relationships, because in a lot of cases, these same black males will go out here and again get with bad black women, then go out here and get with these same women from other races who again will put on a face for a couple of months, but when the relationship starts to get going, that's when these women start to show their ass, and he basically is in the same situation because he's gravitating towards a certain type of woman, and because he has not taken a minute to do a self-assessment, hasn't taken a minute to take a look at himself and say, hey, the reason why these women are coming towards me is because I'm, one, coming from a position of weakness, two, I'm coming out here basically not being a leader. Again, I'm coming out here really thirsty. I talk about this in depth in my book, Stop Simping, Why Men Don't Need Finance to Get Romance. And what happens to these guys is, again, they wind up in a vicious cycle, whether they go out here and pursue, again, what non-black women or white women here in America, or they get a passport and go overseas, and sadly they wind up single at the end of the day because they can't see the common denominator is them, and they can't see they are the center of their own dysfunction. And because they can't see that they're center of their own dysfunction. They basically, again, go out here looking for women, but they wind up with the same type of woman because they gravitate towards the same type of woman, and they gravitate towards the same type of woman because of their low self-esteem, their lack of self-worth, their lack of self-confidence, and their inability to lead as a man. And because they have an inability to lead as a man, again, these are the guys who go out here chasing women, thinking they're going to be treated better because of a race of a woman, instead of looking at more important things like the content of her character and things like her values and who she is. I mean, these guys basically, again, come from a dysfunctional position, and Uncle Luke basically wants to continue promoting a dysfunctional narrative as he did back in the day with 2 Live Crew. Again, he's, again, a agent of white supremacy looking to push an anti-black narrative, looking to drive a wedge between black men and black women as related to the gender war. And anything he says, basically, I would take with a grain of salt, because I know from life experience, again, a lot of women are basically the same as related to their behavior. And when it comes down to women, again, black, white, Hispanic, don't matter who it is. Again, how you're treated is based on how you lead in the relationship. And if you don't take the lead in the relationship and demand your respect from minute one, you are going to be dealing with disrespectful and argumentative women all the time. Any man who goes out here and does not take the lead in the relationship and insist on demanding his respect from minute one will go out here and be disrespected. And any smart man out here, again, when he sees this type of behavior in any woman at the beginning, he charges that woman to the game. That's what I had to do in junior high school and high school with women of all races, whether they be black, Puerto Rican, again, Dominican, Jamaican. It didn't matter. My respect was the most important thing to me. And this is the thing that black males don't understand. Again, you gotta demand your respect. But the sad part is many black men don't know how to demand their respect because they see every black woman just like they mama. And again, going back to the trauma from mama, they think they can't stand up to women because mama was the leader in the home. Mama was the head of the house. And they think they can't stand up to women. But a man, if he wants to have a healthy relationship, has to stand up to women. He has to learn to say no to women. Again, he has to know how to set boundaries with women. He has to know how to set a course with a woman, because the way she treats you is based on what you demand. And again, if you don't demand respect, all you're going to get is disrespect, because these women will test you. They will go out here and look to see what boundaries you're going to set. And this is something many black males, again, from single mother households don't understand. They don't understand that when it comes down to women and people in life, you have to set boundaries. You have to set boundaries as related to people and demand your respect. Because if you don't demand your respect from minute one and insist on being treated the way you want to be treated in this relationship, guess what? This woman is going to start becoming disrespectful, and then go to being argumentative, then go to being loud and ratchet. And again, she does this because you, again, won't go out here and demand your respect. You will not let this woman know that certain things ain't gonna go with you, because again, when you are a leader, you go out here and again insist that, again, you want to be in a relationship with me, you're going to be in a relationship with me on my terms. And again, this is the role that God has given you as a head and a steward. But sadly, many black men don't know how to be heads and stewards, and they follow the narratives of dysfunctional males like Uncle Luke, who basically shouldn't be talking about nothing about black women based on the dysfunctional way he has presented black women, based on the way he has exploited black women. I mean, here's this guy talking bad about black women when he did bad by black women ever since the 90s. I mean, he basically presented black women as as objects, but he does wants to talk about, again, other women who basically wouldn't let him have them out there with their butts in thongs, shaking it at all. No, the men in their community is not going to have their women out there like that. No, they wouldn't allow that to happen. But this guy, again, he'll talk bad about black women. He'll talk bad about black women and talk about getting with other women because he's basically, again, a guy who wants to, again, push dysfunctional narratives. I repeated that again. Wants to push dysfunctional narratives to black men and black women about relationships, but knows nothing about relationships because when we look at his results, he's possibly, again, one of these dysfunctional Pookie type guys. And again, but when it comes down to him, he shows how little he knows about women based on what he says about, again, his preferences. Because, again, Hispanic women and black women are basically the same. And if you go to a community, you will see that they basically are the same. And it's all about the women you look to get involved with. Now, if you want to learn about why so many black women out here are single, you can check out my book, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find Why 70% of Black Women Are Single at other online booksellers like Draft the Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you want to learn how to break out of the simp paradigm that Uncle Luke is in, you can check out my book, Stop Simping, Why Men Don't Need Finance to Get Romance, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also check out Stop Simping at other online booksellers like Draft the Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you want to see me take losers like Uncle Luke to the barbecue, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available in paperback and e-readers, The Temptation of John Haynes. Give in to temptation and pick up this action-packed African-American paranormal romance. Get The Temptation of John Haynes in paperback and e-readers today.
Now available for the first time in paperback, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single. Learn all the reasons why so many black women can't find a husband and why 70% of black women are single. Get your copy of Why 70% of Black Women Are Single on Amazon.com today.
Support black-owned and black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.